headlights. He's done all he can. Good evening, guys and girls, and welcome back to the Racing Line Touring Car Championship. We are back after our week's break for the season, and now we're entering our final run to the end. Not right now, obviously. This is round 4 out of 7, so we are past the halfway point. Round 3 was just before the halfway point. Tonight is the halfway point. I knew Kakala was going to jump straight in chat because look in the background. But welcome back. Iku, by the way, welcome back to this foggy day at Canadian Tire is where we are for round 4, races 10, 11 and 12. The full configuration. I don't think there's any other configurations, to be honest. Don't know where the fog has came from. It says partly cloudy, 100% humidity. I'm hoping it clears up throughout the day. Remember, the times of the races are spread out throughout the day, so hopefully we'll get some decent pictures. I mean, he's a pro. He can handle these things. It's just not made it any easier for Mr. Kakala. Welcome back. Welcome back. Anyway, I'm Jack Johns. I'm your commentator for today. Stephen Burns in the live steward room once again. Welcome to you wherever you're watching across any of our 4 channels. I can see a load of you have jumped in straight away. Thank you for that. The Racing Line YouTube and Twitch, and VCO eSports YouTube and Twitch is where we are live. And of course, the Racing Line Touring Car Championship is powered by GT Omega. So if you want to, I mean, I can't force you, but if you want to, there's a little discount code there hidden in the bottom left. Look, GT Omega discount code TRL5 for 5% off any GT Omega products that you want to use or buy. Anyway, let's catch up on chat quickly before we have a look at what's happening in practice. We've got SoundSync 5000 saying Diesel Raid. Not sure what that means, but that is on one of the Twitch channels. Christoph Plays is here. Welcome. Chat is here. Let's go. Evening, Mr. Johns. Evening, drivers and comrades in driving. Kakala said thanks for the fog. Diesel TV says let's go. Andre says 100% humidity is going to do that. That 9-kilometer wind should tear the fog apart, though. Unrealistic, says Andre. Stephen Burns says it is getting brighter. I can see from my position in the sky now. That's Stephen Burns, the weatherman, telling us that it is clearing up in the distance and it should be over. it should soon clear up throughout the session for sure. How could it be? Hello to you, Mr. Burns, says Christoph. Don't forget to like and subscribe, says Vanals92 on Twitch. Mad Maxi says hi, hype, subscribe. And yeah, that's pretty much caught up on chat. So now, there you go. Look, we can see more from down here in the dregs of the circuit as we see a Street Casuals Hyundai fly past. That's Eric Manitveld, and look at the times. That's surprising. So for those of you that haven't been with us throughout the season so far, in fact, for everyone who's been with us, this is some useful information. We know that the cars have been somewhat, they've been different to last season. Oh, it is foggy out there, isn't it? That will clear up surely. There's 5 minutes left to practice, so quali might clear up a little bit, and then the races will be later in the day, so we'll see what happens. The cars this season, season 1, I don't think it's wrong in me saying Audi domination. Some people were saying, some of the drivers were saying it's because the quicker drivers were in the Audi, but realistically, no, we all knew that the Audi at the time was one of the faster cars, which is why in the RLTC we forced them to have one of each car in each team to make it fair for the team's championship. So there's no complaints that, oh, this car's faster than this one, because they are all running the fixed sprint setup. They all run their own sprint setups across the grid. But last season, the Audi was very much the clear winner. The starts were ridiculous. They used to jump so far on the starts. They could qualify in 6th and be P1 by turn 1. It was that strong. And then the Honda was very quick over qualifying, but not during the race. Matt Sanderson would say it's not at all, but he's wrong. It was a very good all-round car and was putting up the fight with the Audis a little bit. And the Hyundai was nowhere. It really was one of the worst cars. This was a year ago for Season 1 RLTC. A year later, all the cars have had their updates, and this season saw a very different picture in the first 3 rounds. The Hyundai was very clearly the favourite. Yes, the quicker drivers have jumped over to it, or some of them have jumped over to it, but that's because they know that it's the quicker car. The Honda is still very much up there as well, and yet here we are in practice For Canadian Tire round 4, we did visit this last year, and the Audis are in the top 3. Scheller, Gibson, Dempsey up there. An all Audi top 3. That's crazy. Siegmann in the Hyundai, who had an absolute blinding round 3 at Brazil. He got pole and won the first 2 races and had a strong result in race 3 as well, but Arthur Thurtle taking that race 3 win. We didn't think we would have seen a dominant... we wouldn't have seen someone win all 3 races, basically, but that was pretty damn close from Fabian Siegmann, as Mark Draper now makes it 4 Audis in the top. Sam Van Olst will be gutted because he's currently leading the Audi Championship, and he's down in 18th place out of the 26 drivers that we see here today. Let's see if we can get through the championship order whilst whilst we go on. Oh, there's a lot going on screen right now. Anyway, championship standings. Jake Cranston is leading the way in the Honda. And Morgan Burkhardt, his teammate, is in P2. It's an all sports 1-2 at the moment in the championship standings. Are those two going to be fighting all the way? There's a 30-point gap between them. Morgan will be trying to close that. He's not one to give up, but Jake is laying his mark down. Austin Farr is in 3rd place, just a little bit ahead of Arthur Thurtle. That's 2 more Hondas up there, with Matt Sanderson in 5th in another Honda for 245 points. Stephen King also in the Honda with 243. That is 5 out of the top 6 in Hondas. Fabian Siegmann in 230 points. He's climbing up. Watch that guy, because Team Husingvelt's Fabian will be... He's not going to be staying in 7th, that's for sure. John Bailiff for Pulsus is in 8th. Eric Mannenfeld 9th, and Sam Van Olst rounds off your top 10 in 10th place. Dan Mould, Stefan Scheller, Corpus at Ridley, and Stephen Fry, your next 5 drivers. Even on points is Stephen Fry and Roman Perschke, 148 each. Kieran Dempsey there in 17th place with a late start. He missed round 1. He's climbing his way up, and he's currently 4th fastest out there today. He'll be looking to improve after his crash on lap 1 in Brazil. Not his fault. It was a complete accident by Arthur Thurtle. Yes, he got a penalty for it, but it was unfortunate for Kieran Dempsey's day. Mark Draper in 18th, Nicola Quay 19th, and Steve Halewood in 20th place. Andre, pay attention. I was talking about how dominant the Audi was last year, but this year the Hyundai is dominant. The Honda is just always there. I don't know why people complain about the Honda. It seems to be a good all-rounder both years. Steve Halewood 20th, Jesus Mundre 21st, Henry Morse is in 22nd, Brandon Hughes, Duncan Murray, Dan Thornton, Joe Gibson, Jan Beiswanger, Martin Wallace, James Parfitt, and Alejandro Carade, who had a late start. He missed the first 2 rounds. Got 21 points last time out. Puts him on the board. He'll be trying to close down the next few cars ahead. There's 1 minute left. I'm not sure I'll be able to get through the next lot. So let's have a quick look. I can get through the Audi Championship, I guess. Here's what the Audi Championship looks like. Sam Van Olst leads the way, but Stefan Scheller is fastest in this session. Only 15 points separate those two in the Audis. And Kieran Dempsey is up to 3rd already after missing a whole round. So we'll see how that goes. And you can see the rest of the order. Jesus and Henry equal on points. Jesus will be extending that and staying ahead of Henry, I imagine, for the rest of the season, unless Henry can return for the final round. In terms of Hyundai Championship, this is what it looks like for the Hyundais. Morgan Burkhardt leads the way, Fabian 2nd and John 3rd. Eric, Dan, Corpus, Kyle, Stephen, Dan and Martin round off your top 10 for them. And I don't want to risk it cutting over, so I'm going to get rid of that before I do the Hondas and the Teams Championship, which is where it's at right now. We're having an interesting teams fight this time round. Thank you to the new entries actually, for Team SRL and Team Husingveld have definitely contributed to that. James Parfitt there in the All Sports Audi. He's got a little, parks it up against the wall. He's got a little challenge today. I promised him I'd give him an interview if he could get his highest finish that he has received so far this season. His highest finish, I hear you ask. What is it? Technically, officially on the results, is P20, so he needs to get a 19th place. But he did actually finish on track in P17, but he got a 5-second penalty, which knocked him down to 20th place. Stefan Scheller straight out on track for qualifying. The 10 minutes begins. He's leading the way. He knows he's got a good chance. Joe Gibson's right behind him as well. What was I saying whilst they're on their outlap? He actually lets Joe Gibson go, does Stefan Scheller. That's interesting. Right, Honda Championship. This is what the Hondas looks like. Jake Cranston, Austin Farr, Arthur Thurtle, Matt, Stephen King. That's your, look at that, 200 points, 240 plus points on all of those. Roman Perschke in 6th, Brandon, Duncan, Jan, and Alejandro Carade. there. And your team's championship looks like this right now. Zero Forks given at the bottom of the field, just 27 points away from Lurchers Gaming, who are on 300. Meatball Motorsport 22 points ahead of them in P8. 100 points ahead of them are Team ORD. They'll be looking to jump Goldwing today, with them being one driver down on 454 points. Team Husingveld are on 5. So look at this top 5. Team Husingveld 568. Street Casuals 576. Team SRL 588. And at the top is Pulsar eSports and All Sports Racing, even on points with 614 each. Insane to have 5 teams battling, but we've got some other stories to tell you. There's so much information to go over after a week break. This is crazy, but let's go on board with Stefan Scheller. Let's see if we can. That's going to get more there, I think, so we'll get rid of that. There we go. Right, here we go. Stefan Scheller down through turn 1. Over this crest into turn 2, goes downhill. He holds it tight, gets on the throttle, just feathering. Look how cautious you've got to be on the throttle through here. Gets down the hill, over to the left-hand side. Another long, fast right-hander. Blind on entry because of the walls. Out to the left-hand side. He's in 5th gear. Is this flat out going down this hill? Lifts off just as he gets over it, and then this is the tricky corner. You need to keep your car in control through here. He goes down to 3rd, so most people in the other cars will be going down to 2nd. The Audi tends to be 1 gear higher than everyone else. Climbs up through those gears. We saw a lot of fighting on this back straight last year into the next right-hander and left-hander. It looks like he's closed in on Joe a little bit on this lap. So you would assume that he's gone quicker than Joe Gibson right now. In fact, I can tell you, sector. Can we have a look at sector times? Why am I just guessing? Oh, it hides it. It hides it because of those qualifying. We've got a 33.9, 33.3, and a 20.7. And Joe Gibson is on a 35.3. Yes, he's 3 seconds down in sector 1 was Joe Gibson. And there you go. I think he 1x'd it. Stefan Scheller goes straight to the top of the times. And then Stephen King up there. And then Jake Cranston, 8 thousandths quicker than King. Oh my god, it's going to be close up there. We said the Audis were going to be dominant here based on practice times, and then we've got 2 Hondas up there as Jake Cranston toes his way behind Arthur Thurtle. And Stephen King, 8 thousandths, sorry, behind Mark Draper as he's setting his laps. Joe's in P2, stop the counts as Andre Christoph places. Where is Mr. Morse though, the Giga Chad? I like how he talks about how dominant the Audi is in the championships. Oh yeah, Hyundai still Honda. CFG, says Hobby Raccoon. Canadian Tire Motorsport, also known as New Sport, says Alexander Van der Danda on Twitch. 4 minutes into qualifying. I feel like I'm forgetting something. I've done the championship order. We're in qualifying right now. There's 5 minutes left as they go to set their times. Goes up for the Pulsar eSports Audi, 400ths behind. It's looking close up there. Let's have a look at the overall gaps. 8 thousandths, so the top 4 all within a 10th. I can't remember what the score was on the bingo card. There's a bingo card going, and I think pole position had to be separated by less than... Is it 5 thousandths? Let me check the Discord. 5 thousandths seems ridiculously close, but it is bingo for a reason. Well, it doesn't matter because what just happened to the times there? What did I click on? It does say on the bingo card less than 5 thousandths of a second. But the times have all shuffled out now because whatever just happened on that last lap has absolutely blitzed the grid. Because Siegman has now gone fastest with a 126.0. Scheller's up there as well, making it Husingveld 1-2. Dempsey's still in 3rd. Moldans and Draper Van Olst is up in P7. Burkhardt and Cranston 8th and 9th with King in 10th. Cranston and Kingler still separated by those 8 thousandths. Gone right down the order. Now 6-7 tenths behind are those guys. Steve Hailwood is out there on track by himself. Not getting any toe, just concentrating on putting in those laps, and it's working so far in P17. He's ahead of his teammate Martin Wallace, who's in the train with everyone else as he goes off track a little bit. Alejandro Carade is also out there by himself, getting a little bit of track time in. Have you prepared your drink? Yes, I know you can't hear me when I'm turning my head. There's so much going on, Andre. I need to be able to hold it. I should try that one day. Today is not that day, but maybe next time I'll try it. By less than 5 thousandths, Alex says. Yes, you are correct. Have you prepared a drink? Yes, I have. Feels like we'll see an interesting 3 races. Got to stay hydrated in the middle of the action. We are going to see an interesting 3 races. In the last 4 minutes, I need to catch you up on a few more things. So, there's 26 drivers out there right now. I know where 2 of them are. I've forgotten who the other 2 are. Can anyone else notice who else is missing? I know Duncan Murray is missing. So Duncan Murray will not be here for this round, but he will return next round. He is on a 1-round ban after the brake checking incident in Interlagos round 3 with Jesus Mundere and Steve Hailwood being caught up in that. And then you have Henry Morse, unfortunately, has received a official iRacing ban from some sort of GR86 race where he is, and normally this ban only lasts for officials, but he is banned from hosted sessions as well, so he will not be seeing the rest of the season. His ban does run out before the end of the RLTC season, so we may see him return for the final round, which he would need to turn up for if he wants to beat Jesus Mundere, who's currently down in 24th place. Jesus Mundere will not be here from the next round onwards due to a conflict in timetable, so this is Jesus' final round. But who else is missing? All of Lurchus is there. ORD, Dan Thornton. Yeah, all of ORD are there. Kyle Ridley. So there's 2 Goldwing cars missing. Not sure where Kyle is. Or if he's even awake. So that's 3. Who's the other one? I think it's a red car. It's Brandon Hughes. Brandon Hughes is also away today. So it's ZFG missing a driver. So this is a shocker. Kieran Dempsey right now is on pole position with Morgan Burkhardt in P2. Could Kieran Dempsey get a Season 2 win here? Slenderman says, finally gets to catch a round live again, down with Scarlet Fever. So if I was in the series, I'd probably win every race today. Because whenever Donnie Henriksen is ill, he does extremely well. Christoph says, no, why? In my law, he was too based in a race and they banned him. Yes, that is exactly what happened. Henry Morse was too based in a race and iRacing said, no, none of this. Right, we have 1 minute left of qualifying. This is what the calendar looks like right now. Oh, look at that. Those rounds have swapped around. The break and the rounds have swapped around. Round 4 we are on. It is the 27th of February. The break was last week. You can see all your previous winners there. That's Scheller, Cranston, Corpus, Burkhard, Mould, Cranston, Siegmund, Thurtle. Interesting stuff. Before we head to Silverstone next week. Imola and then Magny-Cours. So 3 rounds left. Silverstone is going to be interesting. We haven't been there since... was it Jetta Cup? Or did we do it at the RLTC? I feel like it was Jetta Cup. Jetta Cup Season 1. And that was an interesting time. Threw up some good racing. Kieran Dempsey actually featured prominently in that round as well. I can't see any improvement in times really right now, and I can't see any improvement in fog either. Let's have a look at some of these cameras. What have we got here? Turn 2s, turn 3s. Oh, they're all slowing down pretty much. There's 10 seconds left. No one's going to finish a time. They're all pulling over. Done. Andre says he was being a sandwich on the radio. Yeah, that was an interesting story as well. Imagine being chat banned for calling someone a sandwich. Not sure why, not sure how, but it is what it is. Sure, the stewarding process is vigorous. Right, here we are then. Race 10 of the RLTC Championship. Cranston leads the way. He starts this race in P7. Burkhard is in second place, 30 points behind. He starts this race in P2. Siegmund is on an absolute flyer in terms of performance since last round. He's in P3, is the German driver. Stefan Scheller, who's fighting Sam Van Olst for the Audi Championship, the Icelandic driver, is in P4 with Sam Van Olst down in P9. Austin Farr struggling a little bit today. at Canadian Tire. And Tim Stewart says, Dan Thornton qualifies mid-teens. Race prediction, he gets nerfed on lap 1 and spends the race battling back from 25th to get P18. Don't say that, Tim, says Andre. Someone knows Dan Thornton a little too well, I think. But you never know. He might climb up the order. He's got Bailiff and Kitty. I mean, look at those people that he's around. I don't know if this counts for the bingo card in terms of acting shocked. But yes, he's in 17th. But he is surrounded by race winners there. King, Bailiff, Corpus, Thurtle. He's got 2 race winners in front of him and 2 race winners behind him. So there is that. Kyle Ridley has made it, says Stephen Burns. That means he's probably going to miss this race. It's a strong prediction, says Tim. He's known Dan Thornton for 20 years. It is a long time. Where's the best starting camera here? It's going to be this one. And the lights come on. And we're about to get underway here for race 10 at Canadian Tire. Round 4 begins here. Halfway, heroes. And away we go. 5 lights are off. 11 laps of Canadian Tire begins. And Kieran Dempsey gets the start that he needs. And Fabian Siegman straight up the inside of Morgan Burkhardt as they head down towards turn 2 now. Look at this. Look at them all come flying around that corner. The fog still settling in. There's a Pulsar's Hyundai off. That's John Bailiff trying to get around Stephen Fry as they now head down the hill towards turn 3. Side-by-side action all the way down the grid. That is James Parfitt and one of the Meatball Motorsport Audis off. I think that's Jesus Amundere as they head through turn 3. Oh, it's very nice through there. And we got... Oh, that's not the camera to have. At the top end, Kieran Dempsey is leading the way safely as the drone cam displays. Jesus Amundere is now down in last place as a result of that altercation. Roman Perschke having a look up the inside of Austin Farr. Oh, look how close they got. Stephen King up the inside. Sam Van Olst is round and sideways. He's parked it, he's reversed it, and he's got out of the way nicely. No poor rejoin from Sam Van Olst, but that is going to absolutely destroy his Audi chances in this round 1. He's going to have to try and climb up for the rest of the day. That was a bit close for comfort, that camera shot. The Nolst moment. Maninveld has proven he is more than capable. Wake up Risley, says Kitty Cat on Twitch, as Jake Cranston has a look down the inside of Dan Mould in the Hyundai into the right-hander. Dan Mould does let him have the inside, but he's got the inside for the left. We saw a lot of racing here last season. Look at that. Cuts his nose off. Jake backs out of it into the final turn. Lives for another day. Both of them continue their fight in 5th and 6th. And Eric Maninveld, who showed good form here last year, was taken out by Sam Van Olst on that back straight. He's down 2 places right now, is Eric, but he's definitely still got it all to play for as we head down the hill now back towards turn 2. Where is Sam Van Olst? He's down 15 places. He's going to slowly climb his way back up. He's actually not that far back from the pack, already flashing his lights. Trying to hunt down Jan Weiswanger in the Meatball Honda. He's got James Parfitt behind in 25th. Jesus Amundere in 26th. No Carl Ridley this time as Roman Perschke is going down the order. Why? He's on the grass, is Roman. I wonder if he got there by himself or was he helped? Let's see if we can have a quick replay of that. I've got a feeling he's done it by himself. He has. Look, he's lost the rear and on the grass he goes. Oh, but he's kept it out the wall. What a slide from Roman Perschke there. Going back live. That's Jerry Agard in chat, I think, saying he heard something beautiful happened here last year as we see Martin Wallace now just passing Roman Perschke. And he's up the inside of Alejandro Caraday as well. And the ZFG Honda, he's not quite there. Oh, he can't go anywhere. He's blocked in. They're going to go 3 wide down the back straight. That's risky. I think he's backed out of it. He's got nowhere to go, Martin. He's weaving left, right, left, right. He can't find his way through the Lurchus Academy. Not Lurchus Academy. That's an old team. The Lurchus Gaming Car. That's Jake Cranston off the circuit, I think. It is, and he's tried rejoining. I think he's taken out another car as well. Joe Gibson's off track. Jake Cranston tumbling down the order. Your championship leader very much out of this race and into the pits. We're going to need to find out what happened there as we see Sam Van Olst down the inside of Martin Wallace. He's back up into 19th place is Sam Van Olst. What's happened to Joe Gibson and what has happened to Jake Cranston? Around the outside. Oh, contact. Big slide on the grass. In the wall. Bounces. That car is very damaged. Now watch this. He does reverse. Oh, actually, do you know what? It wasn't him that made contact, so his rejoin wasn't that bad. But his car is very broken. I take that back. Jake Cranston's rejoin fine, but car broken. Joe Gibson. Oh, just lost it. That's where the other contact noise was. He blew his engine. He's in the wall and out of this race. Oh, dear, oh, dear. I think I saw it's Morgan and Stefan Scheller side by side into the final section. Has to back out of it, does Stefan. It stays in P4. This top four looking very close, but Kieran Dempsey still leading the way and fully in control of this race right now. Joe got spooked by Jake, says Andre. I agree with you there. Seeing that broken Honda down the order. I feel like I've seen something else and missed it. Stephen Fry has dropped down the order for the Meatball Motorsport Hyundai. I've seen him go down. Let's see what happened to him. Is it another grass moment or loss of rear end? Oh, he's just broke. Yeah, look at this. The grass is gravel and sand is lethal. And look how many places you lose. Oh, that was close. It's close, 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 close. He's reversing. Do you know what? I've never seen people reverse. Today we've seen, is that 2 or 3 people do it already? And that is worth it. Tim Stewart is getting excited. Target fixation, says Tim. That will be about the spinning Honda. As we see, Fabian Siegmann is now in the lead of this race. So he has passed Kieran Dempsey. But we don't want to jinx Dan Thornton, who's currently in 13th place. Kieran Dempsey coming under pressure from Morgan Burkhardt now. He's going to be around the outside. So the Audi trying to defend from these Hyundais. Morgan Burkhardt swoops around the outside of this corner. He's going to have the inside for the next one. I think he might get this done unless Kieran can hold it. He's holding it around the outside. He's on the inside for the final turn. Bit of contact from behind there from Scheller. Dan Mould is involved as well. He's in the top 5. That's Eric Mannenfeld in the distance with Mats Anderson there in the Honda as well. Mould weaves to the right, back to the left, backs out of that move. Mannenfeld has just lost the place to Mats Anderson, who sends it down the inside of turn 1. And that's Mark Draper, who's going to look to get in on the action as well. Mats Anderson and Eric Mannenfeld side by side. Mats Anderson is going to lose back out as Eric moves back up into P6. Defends that position nicely, unless he thought it was contact and he gave the position back up. I'm not quite sure, but it looks like they're fighting hard as Stefan Scheller, the number 69 Audi, down the inside of Morgan Burkhardt here into the podium position or not. He's on the outside of the next corner, is he? Yes, he is. The outside of the fast left down the hill towards the uphill right. Tricky corner. You can't really send it there unless, unless you know that the other person's going to give you room, I guess, is where that saying was going. Fabian Siegmann, though, his move for the lead, where was it? I need to try and find it. It must have happened as we were looking at a replay. I've been told off by Joshua Germany for looking at too many replays, but sometimes we just got to know what happened. That's all it is. We've just got to know. And it looks like... yeah, do you know what? It looks like a fairly easy move. He forced his way down the inside of the downhill right-hander. It was a great move from Fabian Siegmann to take the lead. It's going to be interesting. Steve Halewood is having a great race for ZFG here. He's up into the top 10 with Stephen King trying to put pressure on him. He's got John Bailiff behind as well, and 2 Pulsar cars in 11th and 12th. And as you said, Dan Thornton for ORD is up into 13th place. Ninkler says hello, bro, on Twitch. Hello. Welcome. Join us for this is the first race of the night. We've got 2 more after this, and it is all. It's all going on. Jake Cranston, championship leader, is down in 25th place, who's about to pass his teammate James Parfitt, I think, who we can see up the road. Yes, the 2 all-sports cars. We've got Dan Mould on the back of this train in P5. Stephen King is chasing down Steve Halewood, who's been having a poor showing so far. We know he's been quick because he showed pace in media day when there was no points on offer, and then he just kept getting caught up in accidents that weren't necessarily his fault half the time. Sometimes they might have been, sometimes not, but that is the way in racing. As Cranston has now passed James Parfitt. But Steve Halewood into the top 10, and Dan Thornton on for a P13 right now. Matt Sanderson and Austin Farr side by side. That's Austin Farr moving up a position. On the inside. Oh, look at that. That's a dangerous place to position his car. Mats has very commonly positioned his car to try and keep his nose around the outside of corners, which is entitled to do, of course. But sometimes when you just lean that front end of the car on the rear of someone else's, especially the Honda, they tend to just fly off in a direction. It's happened to me many times in the Toyota this season, unfortunately. Joe Gibson, is he back out on track? I can't see him in the pit lane, so he must be back out there, but he's a lap down. Arthur Thurtle's having a bit of a poor showing today. He's actually chasing down Dan Thornton right now. So this is what it looks like on board Arthur Thurtle's Honda. Dan Thornton is putting up a fight. He defends the inside, but he's well, I say Arthur Thurtle's having a mare. Is he really? Because Dan Thornton is putting up a defence here for this position, and rightly so. But I'll tell you what, look behind. It's Sam Van Holst with his flashing headlights, who we saw go right down the order earlier after a spin. And he's chasing down. He's having a look around the outside. He's sticking his nose there. And you got two Lurchus Gaming cars behind as well. That is Corpus and Lequay in 16th and 17th. And Wallace is a little bit further back. But Sam relentlessly flashing his lights right now to try and throw him off. Let's have a look at what it looks like on board. In fact, we need to go off board because these guys are going to go free wide. We know none of them are shy. Dan Thornton to the inside. Arthur Thurtle in the middle. Sam Van Holst round the outside as they head down towards the fast right sweeper. And Sam Van Holst sweeps round the outside of both of them. Gets both positions and moves up into P13. Dan Thornton... Sorry, P12. Dan Thornton down into P13. Someone must have dropped down without me noticing. But what an amazing move from Sam Van Holst. Round the outside of both Thurtle and Thornton through that right-hander. And now Thurtle's down the inside at T1. Dan Thornton losing another position, but he's still up into the... Oh, he's going to hold it. He's round the outside. He's going to have the inside for turn 2. I thought the move was done. I was wrong. Dan Thornton down the inside of turn 2 as they fly down the tight left-hander. And look at him. Look how close they're getting. He's going to run him wide, and now he's going to swoop over to the left-hand side and try and hold it around the outside of this right-hander as they now head down towards the net. Oh, he's got it done. I think he's lifted off and backed out. But now look, he's lifted off too much because the Lurchus Gaming cars are coming through as well. That's Corpus. He's in 15th is Dan, and now he's got Ika Lequay behind him as well as they head down towards the hill into Moss. He's on the grass. He's lost the rear. Dan Thornton off. Oh, he's going to hit the wall. That was a light touch, so he should be okay. We said don't jinx him. And there, well, you can't say it was someone else. Barrack Knuckle Racing says, man, touring cars are so much fun to drive and watch. Parfit in the bin, says Kakula. Let's find out what happened to Parfit after watching Dan Thornton go off the circuit. Oh, he was having such a good race. Oh, that was weird. Just a loss of rear end. It looked like he had a puncture. Imagine if you could get punctures in this game. That would be worth it. Mark Draper was the car that went down the order. He was on the inside of Austin Farr. And I think, is he going to... Oh, well, there you go. Mark Draper in the wall. Big hit. He got damaged the lap before in turn 2. Comfort braking on the outside and got all antsy. Mark Draper's had a... That was a big issue there for Mark. That's a shame. He was doing really well. I'm not sure how else to see this incident. It looks like he just bounced off the curb and into Austin from the views that we've seen. Anyway, we're on lap 9 of 11. And Fabian Siegman is still leading the way with Kieran Dempsey in P2. Morgan Burkhardt in P3. Stefan Scheller P4. Dan Moll P5. Your top 5 very much in the same order. And Caraday has had a crash as well. A few positions up for grabs down there. Joe Gibson's now up into 23rd with all the other incidents we've seen. I say all the other incidents. Oh, so he did have damage, Kakavas. He did have damage. I saw some sparks. Dan's still in P17, not terrible after this spin. Yeah, agreed. Too base to give racing space, we shall see. I don't know if that was on Austin, to be honest, from what we saw from that angle. It just looked like the Audi bounced off the curb and went spearing towards the centre of the circuit, which is where Austin's car was, but that's my initial judgment. Lap 10 of 11, getting closer to the end of days. And this is your closest, highest fight. Morgan Burkhardt being relentless right now. But he also cannot take too many risks. As we see Manintveld drop a few positions because he's on the grass, is Eric. Did he do that by himself? He's lost a couple. He's down in P11 now. Sam Van Olst not close enough to make any gains on that, as we see Morgan send it up the inside of whatever corner that was. That's the corner that I didn't think we'd see much overtaking on, but it is happening. But now Kieran Dempsey might be under pressure from Stefan Scheller behind in the Audi. I'm assuming he's going to fight that more since they're in the same brand of car, but he's in a dangerous position here, is Kieran, because as they head towards this right-hander, the outside line seems to be stronger. Stefan Scheller launches it around the outside. Can he do a Sam Van Alst here and have the inside line for the next corner? I don't think he can, because Kieran is good at holding the outside line through the next bit and then the inside for the final turn. As Stefan still, I think there was contact there as we saw Kieran's car bouncing a little bit, and Dan Mould is going to come through to take P4 after that little nudge from Scheller, and now he's lost out of position. That's what happens when you attack. You become attacked. It's foggy, hard to see through YouTube's compression as well. Wasn't on Austin at all from my view, says Stephen Burns. Yeah, that's looks like I was kind of right in my opinion then. Well, Kieran Dempsey loses out of position to Morgan Burkhardt, but does not. When is this fog going to disappear, guys? We don't want this fog anymore. The day should be getting later and later. Look at the fastest lap times of the cars. 25.6, 25.6, 25.7. That is the closest we've seen all season, I think. We're on the final lap. Mould and Scheller still close together. Thurtle is also chasing down Van Alst back here. Has Van Alst got his lights on his throttle? Because he's flashing them more than usual. He said he wouldn't do that. He presses the button like a pro, not to the throttle. If he has done it to the throttle, I'm disappointed that he's gone to that side. It's not as funny. It's only funny when you spam the button. 98 RH right now. What does that mean? What does RH stand for, guys? I'm being a slacker. Anyway, Fabian Siegmann flashes his lights and crosses the line in P1. Nearly missed it. Morgan Burkhardt P2, Kieran Dempsey P3, Dan Mould there in P4. And then the rest of them are going to cross the line shortly. I do have a finish line camera. There it is. Sam Van Alst still with his headlights. He's stopped flashing them now. Arthur Thurtle finishes behind him. The two Lurchers cars come in behind in 13th and 14th. And then in comes, is that Dan Thornton? It is Dan Thornton in P16 in the end. Roman Persky down there in P18. Cranston in 19th. Did climb his way back up a little bit. But who'd have thought Sam Van Alst would get back to the top 11 after being at the back so early on. Eric Mannenfeld had a crash. Or did he just pull over because of his broken car? Oh, his car is proper. Ooh. He's just going to tow. He's towed. He wasn't going to try and bring it home. I personally, I mean, I know why he did it, because, humidity, thank you. I personally, I get told off for this in other leagues, but I would have tried bringing that car home. I know why he towed, because it's dangerous and he didn't want to cause any issues. Didn't want to get any penalties. For me, I would have tried bringing it home. There was only a lap to go. I think, was when that accident was, unless it was a couple laps ago, in which case maybe he did make the right choice. And now we see them all coming back into the pits. Why is he still waving this checkered flag? Silly Billy. You can see all the pit crews there, chilling out, looking at their TV screens. Siegmann pulls up. Ooh. Into his pit spot, as does Burkhardt. Still a lot of fog out there. We'll see what happens when it jumps to race 2, which is going to happen now. Straight into race 2, guys. No waiting. Do you know what I didn't do earlier? I don't think I did the grid. That was a rookie error. Anyway, called it out now. Top 6 reverse. So Matt Sanderson starts on pole. Stefan Scheller in second. Dan Mould, Kieran Dempsey 3rd and 4th. Morgan Burkhardt and Fabian Siegmann 5th and 6th. Austin Farr and Steve Halewood there in P8 in the end. Starts on your 4th row. Stephen King and John Bailiff on row 5. Van Alst and Thurtle on row 6. And All Lurchus Gaming row 7. Martin Wallace and Dan Thornton on row 8. Stephen Fry and Roman Persky on row 9. and Jake Cranston and Jesus Mindere on row 10. Alejandro Caraday and Eric Manenveld in 21st and 22nd. Joe Gibson, Jan Weiswanger, Draper and Parfit rounding off your field down to 26th place. Kyle Ridley still not in the session, so I'm guessing he did in fact miss it. Unfortunately, he must have missed it very closely. And here we have it then. Sam van Olst already flashing his lights. He's the only one doing it. The 5 lights are on. And away they go. A good start. No wheel spin from the Honda of Mats Borg Andersen as they head down towards turn 1. And here they all go side by side, 2 by 2. And then heading towards the next corner of turn 2. Look how they all filter through this turn. I love it. Love seeing them all come through. 26 cars out there right now. Multiple manufacturers. And look at that. That's the ZFG of Martin Wallace side by side with Persky. I think that is down there. And Schellers might be going onto the grass there. I think he is. Schellers on the grass in the distance. You can see him going down the order now. Look how many positions he's going to lose. Stefan Scheller touches one wheel on the grass and loses a number of positions there. But Mats Borg Andersen leading the way as we head down towards Moss Corner. It's the only corner I know. Stefan Scheller still losing places by the looks of it. There he is. He's down in 20th place. He was in the top. He's racing the Lurchers car down the back straight now. Look at that for a camera view as they all come flying past. Let's have a listen to those engines. Anyway, that's enough engine listening. There was a few side-by-side there into that final turn. Oh, that is a big crash in the background involving Jesus and Mundere. 2 Meatball Motorsport cars are involved in that. Or 3 of them, because there's 3 Meatballs down there. That is Jesus, Stephen Fry, and Weiswanger. No, it's just Jesus and Stephen Fry, I think. Jesus very much in a broken machine. That was massive. From the looks of it. Oh, it was Roman Persky just absolutely put him in the wall, and then his car rolls back on and takes out the Meatball Motorsport. That will be on the bingo card. Teammate taking out teammate, not on purpose, but there it is. Roman Persky will probably receive a penalty for that. I'm sure, but we'll see whether it's after race. Or, oh wait, he is going down the order, I think. He's off. Roman Persky's off the circuit. He's having an absolute nightmare, is Roman. For Team Husingveld. Canadian Tire, not his day. As we see, Mats Andersen is under pressure from Fabian Siegmann, who won round 1. He started this race in 6th. He's round the outside. Now he's on the inside. Dan Mold is already in the lead of this race, so he's past Mats Borg Andersen. Siegmann's still under pressure, goes to turn into the corner, but Mats Borg Andersen is having none of it. And look at this, he's had to back out. Fabian Siegmann tucks in behind to P3, has a look down the inside. Kieran Dempsey's still up there, and Morgan Burkhardt's still there as well. Missed it by seconds, says Carl Ridley. Oh, it's a shame, it's a shame. We was hoping, we had our hopes, as we see a couple of people go off in the grass there. Austin Farr and Sam van Olst, I think, following each other. These two will probably be having a fun chat whilst they're racing. They love talking. And Stephen King's going to be trying to find his way through as well in the Honda. As we see smoke up ahead, and I think it's Fabian Siegmann. It is. He's going down the order. He can't quite get back on in front of the other cars. Loses a number of positions there. Come on, ORD, down in the hunt for another P13. Stop jinxing him, Tim. Last time we said that, we saw him drive off the circuit by himself after losing a couple of places. But Fabian Siegmann, he doesn't need to, well, we love it when people race hard. But what I was going to say was he doesn't need to race too hard when he's had 3 race wins in the last 4 races. All he has to do is sort of settle for those top 5s. Because the top 5 is better than a DNF. As Jake might find out after today's race. Stephen King found it out last time. Oh, 3 wide. Sam van Olst turns into Morgan Burkhardt there. Keeps it on the circuit, does Sam. Tucks back in behind Austin Farr. He's under pressure from King, though, who's now going to try and get the switchback on the final turn. That was insane stuff, but Morgan Burkhardt comes out on top of that. He's under pressure from Austin Farr. This is what it looks like from the front of Austin Farr's car. So the Street Casuals car is who we're on top of right now. Looking at Morgan Burkhardt, who's 3/10 ahead. What's the strength of field looking like? 3.7, 2.6, 3.7. The leader of each car right now, Anderson, Dempsey and Mould, and each team is, oh, it doesn't say, but it would be, we can say from the drivers, it's ORD, Pulsus and SRL leading each manufacturer right now, as Lecquay and Amundere are in the pits. I think there's been more crashes back there. Sam Van Alst is not giving up on that headlight flashing. I think he has bound that to a throttle, which is disappointing. Fabian Siegman, I think, has just been passed by John Bailiff around the outside of that turn, inside of Moss. Can we find out what happened? Can't actually, I don't think I can see it. Lost the rear. He's on the grass. Kept it on, but he lost a lot of speed. There we go. That explains that situation then for Fabian Siegman. As we see Roman Persky swapping positions with someone down here, I think. That'll be someone in the pits, I guess. James Parfitt is in the pits again. Ika Lecquay and Amundere and Fry also down there. I think some of those are going to stay in there, but your race leader right now, Dan Mould, is in full control. 1.7 seconds in the lead. Team SRL leading the way. He's comfortable right now, is Dan. Doesn't have to worry. He's got Mats Borg Andersen in P2, Kieran Dempsey in P3, Morgan Burkhardt is in P4 right now. In terms of Morgan Burkhardt's head, he'll be okay with P4. Jake Cranston lost a lot of points as a result of that race 1 incident. He's up into P11 is right now, Jake. He's just past David Corpus. He was in P12. It does mean he'll be starting race 3 near the front, as Fabian Siegman is on the inside of John Bailiff as they head down towards turn 1. He's going to get that move done nicely, and his Arthur Thurtle going to try and come through as well in the SRL Honda. He is putting his car there. There's a little bit of contact. They're both going to stay on track, as Stephen King's on the grass as well. Bailiff on the inside now of turn 2, and I think Arthur Thurtle, he's a smart driver, he's backed out of it. Yes, he has indeed. But now Jake Cranston is here to put the pressure on. Also in the Honda. Arthur had a quick cheeky look at the next corner there as they head down towards the next turn. Can never remember what turn this is. This will be turn 4 then. Down towards the Moss entry. Arthur Thurtle under pressure from Jake Cranston, who's going to try and launch it around the outside. And he does launch it around the outside. Does Jake Cranston, gets it turned in nicely as they exit the corner now. Down the straight of turn 7. You've got Mannitveld and Thornton side by side as well in P15 and 16. Insane stuff. It's a shame the engine noises aren't louder as they fly past there. You want to hear those touring cars roar down that back straight. Dan Thornton and Eric Mannitveld did swap back, so Thornton down to 16th. The run of that back straight is just insane. It's so long. Go Team SRL, says VJ4 in YouTube chat. Van Olst is like a cop in the way, going far for the W. Sam taking that corner with style, just catching up on chat a little bit. Yes, drifting around the outside of probably current championship leader Morgan Burkhardt. That was a little bit of an assumption, to be honest. If the maths adds up. I'm not that good at maths to know the point system off by heart. Joe Gibson is climbing. He's up 5 places this race. for Team ORD. He had pace earlier on. He's currently chasing down Steve Halewood, who had a top 10 in the first one. He's down 9 places in this one. Your biggest gainer is Mark Draper for Team SRL. He's in P13. If he can get one more place in the next 4 laps, which is David Corpus right in front of him, he'll be starting the next race in pole position. Row position number 12 is where it gets reversed for race 3. There is a short break after this. About 5 minutes or so. Joe Gibson, just after we was watching him, went off track. Top is looking close. I think Morgan Burkhardt is about to put Kieran Dempsey under pressure again around this corner. But Kieran Dempsey tries to launch around the outside, holds him tight to the apex, keeps the inside to the final turn. We've seen him do that time and time again. But can he keep his car on circuit as they head down towards turn 1? You don't really want to give Morgan a sniff there because he's going to get the move done. But look at that, Kieran Dempsey holding it round the outside of Morgan. Rub a little bit on the exit. And then they head down towards turn 2 where Kieran Dempsey's going to have the inside. He's going to try and get a bit deeper to keep his car in front. And he does hold on to it. Mikkel Collind on Twitch said something about a raid. Shall I give that a go of reading that? Laved Jeg raided. Rigtight. Kom ik zelf automatist over. Du var ik... Oh, do you know what? I'm probably butchering this. But... Du var ik verdig til dit eget raid. Det sku dalig still. Abenbart ik... What language is this? I'm trying, guys. Honestly, I get told all the time. I try and speak different languages all the time. I try and learn, right? But even if I think I'm saying it right. Danish! It's Danish. Even if I think I'm getting it right. Like, I could get told to say the exact word, and I would repeat it exactly as someone has just said it to me, and they'll still go, no, that's wrong. Just because I have a British accent. It's not fair. Zero Fox Given Racing Martin Wallace and Street Casuals Manenveld are side by side in these lovely looking Hyundais, flying through these left and right handers. Actrol Vision says perfectly pronounced. I doubt it. If it was, then thanks, I guess. As we see Cranston also swapping places with John Bailiff here. Ooh, around the outside of turn 1, that is. He's on the inside for turn 2. Swoop cuts his nose off as he swoops across into P9, does Jake Cranston. Don't know if he's angry or if he's just driving with an absolute passion right now. As Kieran Dempsey is also under pressure once again from Morgan Burkhardt. He's done it in the same place. Kieran Dempsey is going to try and hold the inside. He can't hold the inside as they head down towards the hill. Morgan Burkhardt is now up into P3 at the podium places. Austin Farr was going to have a look then as well. Kieran Dempsey positions his car nicely to defend. That Hyundai looking strong in a straight line as usual. We'll see if the Audi... no, sorry, I was distracted by chat. Let's see if the Audi can even close slightly on this. In fact, where's the dashboard quickly? 2010 kilometers an hour. 220. Oh, we already got to the braking zone. I think there is a way actually to see top speeds. How did I do that last time? This thing. Right, the battles box. Top speed. There it is. Morgan Burkhardt. Well, look at that. The Audi, somehow, if you look in the bottom right, the Audi somehow has got a top speed 1 kilometer higher than the Hyundai, but it has not capitalized as Morgan Burkhardt up ahead is now all over the back of Mats Borg Andersen for P2 on lap 10 of 11. That one extra position is going to be worth about 3 extra points, whereas further down it's only worth 1 or 2 points gaps different, but the podium places are worth a little bit more. Let's have a look actually. Let's go on board with Morgan Burkhardt and see what it looks like from the inside of his car as he chases down Mats Borg Andersen down this final straight on the second to last lap of this race as we head down towards the final lap. Look at the speed. Less than a tenth. Moves over to the left. Mats tries to defend. The speed difference, 227 for the Honda, 231. It was a 4 kilometer an hour difference on that back straight, and I think that move is going to have been done as Matt slides his way out, nearly touches the grass, and Kieran Dempsey's going to swoop round the outside and get back up onto the podium. He's up into P3 is Kieran Dempsey. Morgan Burkhardt up into P2. Dan Mould is 3 seconds up the road, and Mark Draper might have had another issue just as we head towards the final lap. It's not in the same place of the circuit, is it? I think it might be. Who was he chasing down? It's Corpus in the Hyundai. He launches it down the inside. Oh, clumsy from Mark there. That's big. That was a big crash. We won't watch that again. Big crash from Mark there, who looked like he just went to the inside of the grass. Not sure if David moved over on him from the angle that we saw, but it is what it is. Mats Borg Andersen is looking extremely close to Kieran. This is not done yet as they head down towards Moss Corner, down the hill behind those trees, and there's contact. Kieran Dempsey's round. Mats Borg Andersen has made contact with the Pulsar's car, and now Mats Borg Andersen, who's going to come home in P3. Oh no. No. That's a shame. Kieran Dempsey was having an absolutely belter of a round, and it looks like Austin might now get that position. Can Kieran get back onto the track, or is he out? He's out. He's into the pits. Kieran Dempsey out of this race. What is going on with these cameras? There we go. Now we can go back to it. Dan Mould, though, your race leader. Here he is. Coming round the final turn now. And flashes his lights, and rightly so, because he's had a dominant race too. Dan Mould crosses the line to take the win. Morgan Burkhardt in P2. Mats Borg Andersen in P3. Far Bernolst up there in P5. Siegmund King, Cranston Bailiff, Thurtle, Manningveld, Wallace, Thornton, who's just been passed by Halewood. Oh no, Dan's going down. Why? Where is Dan? Oh, Dan. It was contact from Steve. Dan's on the grass, and he's not going to be able to save it. He's in the wall. He's facing the right way. His car's broke. He was in for a P14. Oh, no. Oh, it's painful. He was on for a good result. And there we have it. I just want to re-watch. Yeah, no, you can't say it's his fault, Tim. No, not from looking at it, to be honest. I can't click on SDK to go and watch the replay, so I'm going to have to be unprofessional and look at it this way. I want to watch that final lap with Mats and Kieran. It is break time, by the way, guys. I'm not missing those three, obviously. When was it? Was it final lap? Oh. 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 It's a tough finish, Stuart, isn't it? It's tough at times. Anyway, need to click back off of it. Andre says, big sad. Mr. Stewart, this can't be real. 1 place away from reverse pole. I was hoping for a crash to give Dan P12, but instead it was Dan who crashed. Dan Lucky Thornton is his new name. Hydrate. Squeezing. 911, like to report a murder. Yes, it was. It was another incident of squeezing. It looks like the chicane emoji from the Discord server. Yeah. Let's have a look at the results. Results of the first 2 races of today. Fabian, Morgan, Kieran, Dan, Stefan, Mats, Austin, Steve, Stephen, and John. Your top 10 from race 1. And then race 2. Dan, Morgan, Mats, Austin, Sam, Fabian, Siegmund, Stephen, Jake, John, Arthur. Your top 10 in race 2, round 11. Sorry, race 11. During round 4. One more today. Just one more. One more race, guys. Let's have a look at the time in the top left. Have we got time to get a drink? Yes, we do. So 4 minutes until race 3. If you need the toilet, go now. And Mickle Collins says good night, guys, in Twitch chat. So we've got one more race, but night, Mickle. So same distance, it's 11 laps. It's probably getting late. What is the time? It's 1 a.m. 1 a.m. here, which means UK time. Well, no, Mickle. I'm assuming Mickle isn't in the UK, but UK time would be 12, 11, 10, 9. So assuming that you were somewhere maybe 1 or 2 hours ahead of them, it's probably 10 or 11 for Mickle. Harry says good night. New objective from Christoph says survive. Always the objective. Who's out there right now practicing? Someone's out there. Mr. King. Only man on track. Been in Bahrain all week, has Mr. King. Probably should mention that. He'll enjoy that for the F1 test. Working for a prestigious F1 team's IT department. There's 10 to pick from. Take your guesses. They hired him to save money. That's your clue. Bounces over that final curb. And there we go. Ticks over. So the final race then today. Race 12. Grid time, please. Here we go then. So Martin Wallace is on pole position with Eric Manintveld in P2. It's a 0 forks given on pole. Eric Manintveld, Arthur Thurtle, John Bailiff, Jake Cranston, Stephen King, Fabian Siegman and Sam Verdolst in the top 8 in the end. Farr, Matt Sanderson, Burkhard and Dan Mould. Steve Helwood, Stefan Scheller, David Corpus, Mark Draper, Gibson, Perschke, Caraday and Jan Weisbanger, Kieran Dempsey, Thornton, Parfit, Ikulakwe, Fry and Amundere round off the rest of your grid. Do I have time? I should do. Should just about have enough time. Here we go. Martin Wallace. His 2 Hyundais on the front. Christian Ortiz Torres says, let's go, coach. Let's get rid of that music. Do not forget that. Yeah, see, I beat you, Andre. Oh, don't want that up there. 5 lights are on, and away they go. Christoph also reminded me. I knew, I was there. And look at that for a start. Mannenveld goes tumbling down the order, and John Bailiff is up into P2 or P3. I'm not quite sure because Arthur Thurtle's still side by side. But Eric Mannenveld has had a really poor start from P2. He's going down, and down the order. And look at that, that's Fabian Siegmann going through already. Sam Van Olst is passing him as they all go down towards turn 2. But Martin Wallace has got the start that he needed and leads this race for a little bit longer. He's going to lead it for as long as he dares. Let's have a look what it looks like from behind him as we see some people tumble down the order behind. Kieran Dempsey's up into 19th already. The biggest gain so far is just 2 positions from a few people across the field. Oh, Arthur Thurtle closes in hard on the brakes there towards Martin Wallace in the ZFG car. And gets a much smoother exit, does Arthur. Martin's going to try. He can't cover him off because they're already side by side. He's going to try moving over and squeezing him towards the right-hand side. Side by side for the lead. Arthur Thurtle's going to try and move up already for Team SRL. Martin Wallace for Zero Forks Given is going to try and hold it around the outside. Is he or is he not? He's got more top speed. He should do in that Hyundai. But what is going to happen here? Because John Bailiff's going to try and take advantage as Jake Cranston almost makes it 3 wide towards the right-hander. He does launch it down the inside of Bailiff, does Cranston. And Martin Wallace, I think, is going to hold on to P2 here, but Cranston's going to try and go around the outside. He's on the inside for the final turn. Nudges him out wide a little bit. We've seen that before with Cranston and Wallace at Okayama. And that's going to allow King come through to take P3. He's on the inside of Martin Wallace, who's being shuffled out. He's on the wrong line. He needs to get back to the racing line as soon as he can. To stop anyone else from coming through. And Bailiff holds on from Fabian Siegmann. Anderson's all on the grass. Flashing lights from Sam Van Olst. And King just slots in front of Martin, who goes around the outside. He's on the grass, and so's Cranston. Off and in the wall. I think Cranston might be out of this race, and Wallace drifts down the hill. And there you go. That's what happens when a ZFG starts on pole. Oh, man. Pain for Martin Wallace, who's going to come back on at some point. And there's another ZFG off. It's Steve Halewood for the Zero Forks Given Audi. Off on the grass, losing positions. Dan Thornton is up into P20. He's about to pass Fry. And I think he's trying to pass LeQuay as well. But LeQuay's just held on to that position. But Wallace, somehow, after that big slide, is now slotted back in to P17. Kieran Dempsey is up into 16th place. But what happened to Jake Cranston? He's jumped to the pits. Jake Cranston has jumped to the pits. He must have done it himself because there was no one around him. Oh my lord. That was... what? What happened? Was that a disconnect? It looked like he turned his wheel to the right. One more. Germo will tell me off, but we're going to watch it one more time. Oh, yeah. Do you know what? I think you might be right. That's absolutely savage. And that is not what he needed. I thought that Kakula instant to the left. Oh, Stefan Scheller running wide. He's gonna lose. We've seen that so often today. It's just, if you get slightly offline and you understeer offline, you've got to really scrub off a load of speed as to not touch the grass and potentially lose your whole race. I thought the same thing, Kakula. If that was a wheel disconnect, then it would just shoot straight to the right. Or left, whichever way. Unless his wheel fell off. Maybe he could jump in Twitch chat or YouTube chat and let us know. But that is very unusual. And do you know what? Don't like to see results like that in terms of be affected by something like that. We have seen it before. We've seen VR issues. We think back to Andy Fox at Oran Park all that time ago when he ended up in the one tyre wall in the centre of Oran Park as Fabian Siegmann sends it down the inside of turn 1 on Stephen King to take P2. And now he's going to begin his charge to take Arthur Thurtle and maybe get another win. I told you to watch that man in the Team Hussikveld Hyundai. And here he is, proving time and time again. Stephen King having another quick look, though, up the inside. He's not giving up, as now Manitveld is trying to hold up Mr. Burkhardt, and he's got Austin Farr behind him as well. So the Street Casuals pair could be using a little bit of team tactics here if they drove smart enough. Manitveld with VR issues as well in the Jetta Cup. Yes, we have. We've seen Donnie Henriksen cut out, I think, at Alton Park with some issues like that as well. Of course, hard thinking back now. What have we had? We've had 3 Jetta Cup seasons, 2 RLTC seasons, and I think Fabian is already alongside Arthur Thurtle for the lead, and I think it's going to get done before the turning point, or is it? Can Arthur come back? They are still side by side as they head towards the right-hander. Fabian carries the speed through. Arthur's still on the outside, but Fabian very much on the inside. Has to hold it towards the apex. Arthur keeps it so far. He's on the inside of the final turn. Fabian tries to hold it around the outside and does. And now they head down towards turn 1. A great fight for P1. Manitveld defends from Burkhardt, but Siegmund round the outside of turn 1. Sam Van Olst round the outside of Eric Manitveld. Where was he in this fight? I don't know if that was Manitveld challenging Sam or Sam passing all 3 of these cars. I have a feeling it was Manitveld challenging Sam, who was already up there. He was still flashing his lights. But Morgan Burkhardt in a Street Casuals sandwich. Going to get told off for Andre again, by Andre again, because the sandwich is not named after the bread, it's named after the filling. So it's technically an all-sports sandwich with Street Casuals bread. See? Pay attention. I pay attention to these things. Austin Farr, though, round the outside of the downhill left. Can't quite get his nose there. Slots in behind. That's Dan Mould in P10 with Mark Draper behind. Mark Draper looking for a better round. As I say that, is he on the grass? He was on the grass, and now he's under pressure from Team ORD's Joe Gibson in the Audi. We haven't seen him since his pace in practice, really, after a poor round 1. But here he is in P12, challenging for P11. Dan Thornton is currently in P20, trying to climb up as well. Steve Hailwood is also on his way back up. Stefan Scheller is way down the order after a strong showing earlier on in the round, but he's about to pass James Parfitt, who's in P17, who I think is challenging Martin Wallace. Oh, I say that as he makes contact with the rear of Martin Wallace, who's off the circuit. And there is, I think he kept it out the wall, but Stefan Scheller now trying to get the switch back on James. Oh, gets pretty close to the back of him through there. And now, Stefan Scheller flashing his headlights. Is he going to go left, right? They're trying to find a spot through. Launches it down the inside. Can't quite get it done on the brakes there. Is Martin Wallace still in this race in the background? Yes. No, that's a different ZFG. Where is Martin Wallace? There he is. He's on the back of that train of 3. There. Ooh. Stefan Scheller showing those headlights. I think, based on some commentary on James the other day, I think James isn't a fan of the flashing headlights, but it does happen. I know iRacing came out recently and said that it is a protestable offence, but within reason, I think it's funny. I think Sam Van Olst has gone beyond that funny line today. And there we go, there's James flashing his lights as well. Sam Van Olst does it every time, that's the thing. You don't pay attention really because I never said anything about sandwiches. That's also not true. You mentioned earlier about Henry Morse being called a sandwich, so you did mention sandwiches. That's right, I'm going to be petty. Chris Dev says, Mr. Marek, I call this move Counter-Strike. Well, check your move. Lap 6 of 11. And James Parfitt has lost out to Stefan Scheller. And look at that, that's Roman making moves up there. Well, I say up there, I've lost it. There it is. Roman Perschke and Kieran Dempsey side by side. I know that the Austrian driver has got pace and skill, but at the moment, he's had such bad luck. There's always 1 or 2 drivers who come into their first season on TRL, and they use the whole first season as the learning curve. The quicker you can absolutely adapt to the grid and the driving styles of all of these different drivers and different mindsets, the stronger you become and can perform. But sometimes it takes more than 1 or 2 rounds to do that. And I'm not saying Roman hasn't adapted, because he absolutely has, but he does still keep getting caught up But if you had to pick a Team Husingveld driver that has absolutely adapted the most, I mean, Stefan's had a few good performances, but it's got to be this man, Fabian Siegmund. He wasn't without his issues in the first few rounds as well. But he's done his homework. He's thought, okay, this is how it is. Stay safe, be quick, survive. And now look, he's on for his 4th race win in 6 races, which is insane. Arthur Thurtle up there again. Stephen King and John Bailiff are having a right old time as well in 3rd and 4th. And Sam Van Olst is somehow in P5 after, what did he qualify? 18th? Burkhardt has passed the Street Casuals cars though. So they've done their best to defend. The points gap between King and Burkhardt right now, if Burkhardt stays where he was, so King would get 44. Oh, Austin bouncing over the curves there on the inside of Mould. Siegmund would get 44. Thurtle would get 40. King would get 37. And then I think it drops to 34. 32, 30. So there's a 7-point. There's only 7 points between King and Burkhardt right now on track. Is that right? Or I just completely ignored that. I think that's right. Wait, what happens to Mats? Says Andre. Why is he down there? Got a feeling it's a grass issue. These two. Oh, John Bailiff making contact with Sam on the exit, and now Morgan Burkhardt's going to come through down the inside of John Bailiff. Sam Van Olst flashing his lights round the outside. He's got Morgan Burkhardt as an inside. Oh, look at that. Chops his nose off and slots into P4. Sam Van Olst has been making some absolute moves, some belters, some spectacular outside manoeuvres in that Goldwing Audi today. But he's been absolutely playing a risky game for sure, as I think Austin Farr is about to pass Dan Mould. It's SRL versus Street Casuals here in P7 to 10. We got 2 oranges versus 2 greens, the brightest cars on the grid, and Dan Mould is not giving up here. He's still trying to get that move done on Austin Farr as they now head down towards Moss. Down the hill, Austin Farr's going to lose out as Mould is round the outside and back on the inside of that turn. I can't actually see what's happened to Mats. I'll have to keep finding it. I think Caraday's had another crash. It does say Mats. Oh, I think I found it. Mats Borg Anderson. Off track, it says. Ooh. Oh dear, oh dear. If that... Have we got some Honda issue with this downhill left-hander? He can't change gear. He's stuck in 5th. He is stuck in 5th, and that is what happened to Mats Borg Anderson. That's the 2nd Honda out on the same corner. That was weird. What is happening with the Honda Gremlins? Mark Draper down the inside of Austin Farr for turn 1. Moobot says check out the VCO content base database on that link. Yes, please do. That's on Twitch chat. I'm guessing that's Twitch. VCO's eSports Twitch. If you're watching there's a link that's just been posted. We're on lap 10 of 11. You know what that means. Click that link to vote your driver of the day. You'll see all 30 drivers on there. Who deserves it? We've got 1 lap to go after this. Yes, it is that time. Oh, Austin slides up the inside of Mark Draper. Oh, and he's in the wall. He's going to spin round. There's contact. Roman Persky's involved. Kieran Dempsey is also going to gain a position there. And Joe Gibson's going to move past Austin Farr as a result. But Mark Draper in the wall on the exit of that turn after the contact with Farr. That would be hard to call, really, from the first look on that view that we had. And look at these two. This is going to get feisty. Sam's not going to give that up as he gets moved out a little bit. Accelerates out. Look, he's going to launch it down the inside of the final turn. Sam Van Olst and Morgan Burkhardt fighting. And Sam Van Olst flashing his headlights non-stop for all 3 races. He's going to try and launch it down the inside of turn 1. But Morgan's going to try and hold it around the outside. Once again, swooping and swaying. Well, my brain just shut down, says Mats. Yeah, but it looked like your gearing sat down. But Sam Van Olst slots back into P4 and keeps that position from Morgan Burkhardt. John Bailiff's on the grass, but he keeps it facing the right direction. Can Morgan Burkhardt gain this one more place? Stephen King is now only 2 places ahead, so the points gap has changed. Morgan doesn't really need to gain that position, but he will try to get every point he can as he swoops down Moss Corner. And I think we should go on board with him, to be honest, but we can't focus too much because Fabian Siegmann will be crossing the line before this pair. But John Bailiff, I don't think, is close enough to get involved in this fight as Morgan's all over the grass. Sam Van Olst is not going to have the top speed to keep Morgan behind here. It's all going to be those final 2 corners, the long sweeping right and the long sweeping left. What can they do? Sam Van Olst, Morgan Burkhardt, 4th and 5th. The battle that we've been watching for the last few laps, and Sam Van Olst has been putting up the defense of his life as Morgan turns into the corner. There's a bit of door contact. Sam Van Olst tries to hold it around the outside, but Morgan's on the inside. Can he keep his nose there? Sam can't. They've shut the door. He's going to look down the inside of the final turn, but Morgan Burkhardt does it. Fabian Siegmann, though, crosses the line to take the win after Thurtle in P2 with Stephen King in P3. Sam Van Olst cuts across the track to crash into the wall. Morgan Burkhardt takes P4. He'll get a warning, probably a penalty for that. Not meant to crash after the line as we see more and more coming in. John's car is broken, so he's now an acceptance. Collateral damage. But wow, wow, wow. What a controversial day. This man, though, it did clear up in the end. There's still a bit of fog out there, which is annoying. It's definitely not as foggy as it was earlier. But Fabian Siegmann. Andre says Joe in the top 10. Yeah, P9. Joe in the end. Results. That is the race 2. We don't want to see race 2 results. Your race 3 results are Fabian Siegmann with his 4th win now of the season. That'll be the most wins of anyone. Arthur Thurtle in P2 with Stephen King in P3. Morgan Burkhardt did get up into P4. That's now only 3 points between those two in that race result. Sam Van Olst finished in P5 in the end with John Bailiff P6. Eric Manitvold, Dan Mould, Joe Gibson and Stefan Scheller up there in the top 10 in the end. Well done to Joe and well done for Stefan. They've had an up and down day indeed. Austin was P11 with David Corpus up into P12. Kieran Dempsey made it back to P13 after finishing last in race 2, so he's had a good race 3. Roman Persky up in P14. Steve Halewood, Stefan Fry, Dan Thornton, Ika Lequay, James Parfitt, Martin Wallace, Jan Weisfanger, Jesus Amindere, Caraday, Mark Draper down in 24th, Matt Sanderson and Jake Cranston, both with Honda issues at turn 2. Very weird stuff for those two. It looked like Matt's car just didn't start changing gear. Slasner28 says, Burkhardt driver of the day in my opinion, P2, P2 and P4 with some good moves indeed. 55 of you out there across the channels, Racing Line, YouTube and Twitch, and VCO eSports, YouTube and Twitch. Thank you, of course, all for joining us for today, races 10, 11 and 12. We will have interviews. Burkhardt did well, but Dan Thornton has world-class level driver excuses in the post-race interviews. That's got to count for something. That is up for debate, Timmy. Right. Wait, let's get on to the interviews, and then we can head off for today before we head to our next round at Silverstone National. That'll be interesting. Let's change the replay. Cool, if you think back 11 laps ago, do you remember who started on pole position? None other than Martin Wallace. Ended up in P20 in the end. Right, interview time. Let's find out. Let me just click on the driver of the day link first to see what the votes are looking like. Interesting. Am I allowed to vote? I'll vote. I got one. Get your votes in, people. I can see... Oh, they're shifting. They're shifting. I've used mine. 25%, 25% and 33%. It's pretty even at the moment. I'll leave that going. Get your votes in. It's between Dan Thornton, Morgan Burkhardt and Sam Van Olst right now. So I'll get some interviews done and then I'll come back to that. So click that link just in case you didn't have it. I'll post it again. There you go. If you click that link, you should be able to just vote for the driver. Click on it, click vote, and then you're done. Now, interview time. Moment of truth. I haven't got my VPN on. So we will see if these work today. Let's speak. Do you know who I can see in the interview room? Let's drag him up. It is Fabian Siegman from Team Husinkveld. We haven't spoke to him yet, so let's see if this works. I hope it does work, because living in this country is ruining my my social life online. But Fabian, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, that is good news, and I can hear you. So it is working today. We have got some interviews. So you now have the most race wins this season, I believe, with 4. How was today for you? You've taken your 4th win in the last 6 races.
Yeah, it was obviously a good day overall. Made a small mistake in the second race where I lost a couple of positions. Otherwise, this could have been also maybe a podium or something. But in the end, with the reverse grid, if you make a mistake in like race 2, then you have a better position in race 3. So overall, I'm very happy. I think I've got 1 or maybe even 2 fastest laps as well. So this should give 2 bonus points. So yeah, good day.
A couple of extra points and a good day indeed. Do you think have you changed anything from how you drove in... I'm not saying you drove bad. I'm just saying, do you think you've changed anything from round 1 and 2 to race 3 and 4? Because I mean, there was obviously crashes across the grid in all of the races, and sometimes people are involved, sometimes they aren't. There's a bit of luck involved sometimes in avoiding these things, but out of nowhere, I mean, we knew that yourself and the rest of your team have pace, but out of nowhere, you've got 4 out of the last 6 wins, which it's not an easy thing to do, even with the reverse grid things. But you had pole, race 1 and race 2 win at Brazil, and then who started on pole here? I've forgotten, but you had a race 1 and race 3 win here. But it's looking strong. Do you think you've changed anything from the first 2 rounds to this next 2 rounds?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I didn't really change something, but in the end, my Team Husinkveld teammates and me, we are basically used to endurance races, and this kind of wheel-to-wheel fighting is, I mean, you can also do it there, but it's more about, let's say, pure lap times and pace. And I think it took me a few races to get into the rhythm here, and maybe also to get to know the other drivers a little bit. I feel like I can trust the other drivers much more than in the first races. That when we go wheel to wheel into a corner, that we will both survive. And I think it's the same the other way around, that maybe I was new in the first races and no one really knew how to go wheel to wheel with me. And now after a few races, it settles in somehow.
Yeah, of course, it goes both ways, and it's great to see. And it looks like, I mean, Stefan Scheller was having a better day of it today, I think, as well. Roman is still up and down for Roman, I think, but I'm sure we'll see him have a good result before the end of the season, like a really strong result. He's getting those points, but I still think he's getting involved in some incidents. So before I let you go, I normally obviously say, is there anyone that you want to say hello or thank you to? Any sponsors or any family or anything like that? Of course, thank you and congratulations again on your race wins. But yeah, anyone you want to say hello to before I let you go?
Yeah, I mean, hello to everyone who is watching and who is knowing me. Thanks for cheering for me if you do. And of course, many thanks to our sponsor, Heusingfeld. They equip us with really high-end stuff, and it's really a pleasure to drive. Thanks, bye-bye.
No worries. Thank you, Fabian, and well done to that man. 2 more wins to his tally. Let's bring in Arthur Thurtle, who... Well, do you know what? I just saw Arthur's name and I was like, I'm going to bring him in. I don't even know if he won a race today because my mind is all over the place. Did you win a race today?
I had a P2.
Oh, I'm rubbing it in then. Non-race winner Arthur Thurtle today. I've just got the results on the screen. Hang on. We had Fabian. Who ran race 2? Dan Mould. Oh, I've brought in the wrong SRL driver. Whoopsie. No worries.
Yeah, you brought in the better looking one.
Oh, okay. So P2 in the end there. I mean, Fabian was pacey, wasn't he, in that race? And I think, I mean, you had a good start. You passed Martin fairly early on. Was it just a matter of time, or did you think you could have held him up?
I think it was a matter of time, really. Yeah, you know. I was surprised once he went past. I was surprised that I managed to stay in his toe for as long as I did. That helped me get P2. Otherwise, I think it was Stephen King behind me in my toe. Me and him would have been battling. But no, I don't think I was going to beat him. If he'd taken longer to get up to P2, then yeah, there was a chance. I don't know what happened to Jake behind me. If he hadn't gone flying off into the wall, him and Fabian might have battled, and I might have got away a bit. But we'll never know.
Yeah, we haven't not too sure on what happened with that, to be honest. We're confused on whether it was hardware or not, but we'll find out.
I think we all got a message saying that we had a drive-through.
Everyone.
And yeah, I at the same time as Jake did that, or just before, like a couple of seconds before, I had a message come up on the top of my screen. It just said drive-through penalty or something like that. It didn't mention a number.
Yeah. And
if you'll see on the replay, I went wide because I got distracted reading it, and it was at that time as well that Jake decided to Jake's car just went flying off to the right. So if it's a hardware issue, I hope he gets it fixed for tomorrow, because me and him are teammates in a different race tomorrow.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't, I feel bad for him if it was that he thought he had a drive-through, because he's potentially thrown away a good result.
Yeah, he had the pace for a win there for sure. I think that's what we were all...
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he did. he did. It would have been a good fight though, Honda versus Honda. I'm sure you would have given it.
Yeah, I'd have tried.
Yeah. That Hyundai though is just looking. It looks so strong on those straight lines. The back straight really helped it out here, I think. After seeing the Audis look strong in practice, what a turnaround towards the end. But yeah, but is that, have I got that right from looking at it? Is it just the straight line speed that's making those Hyundais a little bit tough to keep behind, or?
Yeah, the Hyundai seems to, like, from just after the exit of the corners, it seems to get away, and the Audi out of the corners, it's just an animal, and the little Honda's just left, like, revving as hard as it can, trying its best, but it's just not got the speed down the straights at the moment.
No, we were it was weird because I was like, I'm sure it's top speed, and then we got a speedo up, and it clocked the Honda 1 km/h faster than the Hyundai. But I think you're right. It must be something to do with how quick it gets there. I think the Hyundai just drives out of the corner and gets there a lot quicker. But yeah, it's looking good, Arthur. Looking good. So it was a good day. Is there anyone you'd like to say hello or thank you to before I let you go?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, fair enough. You've done... Oh, I know why you've done that. Okay, bye.
Bye.
That was a bingo call he's just done there, for sure. I'm going to bring in Zippy the Wonder Slug from Discord. That is Morgan Burkhardt, for those that don't know. If I'm honest, I've forgotten the story behind that name, but do you know what? If you want to tell us about it, you can. If not... we'll ask about your day, Morgan. I'm basing this off of what chat have said, because I forget the results rather quickly, but a P2, P2 and a P4, is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
And that would be why, let me just double check this. Last time I checked the driver of the day, you were leading the vote. Let me just double check. It was close between you and Dan Thornton, but you did get the driver of the day by 41% of the votes. And I mean, rightly so. That's a pretty strong result across all 3 races. And What a move. How difficult. Talk us through passing a driver like Sam Van Olst in a Goldwing Audi. Is it scary? You knew you could do it before the last lap. Talk us through that whole situation.
Well, I was sitting behind him for a while, kind of trying to choose where I was faster and where he was faster, and then where the best passing opportunity really is into the final section of corners after the long back straight. So I was just kind of trying to set it up out of I think the corner's called Moss. I'm not really sure. The double apex right-hander. I was trying to set it up out of there, and then it's been a while since I've raced Sam, and I'm kind of just like going off of what everyone else has said. And I gotta be really nice about this. I was gonna give him a little bit extra room, but you know, we had a good clean race. It was fun, and honestly, I didn't think I was gonna be able to pull it off. I had tried on the penultimate lap, and he held it really well. I mean, he defended well, and we never touched. And then I was a little bit more assertive coming into the final corner on the last lap, and was able to get it done.
That's right. It was a brilliant move on the final lap, and it looked like, I mean, I was dreading I saw his bonnet slightly go inside your rear on the last turn, and I was like, please do not do iRacing things and spit one of you off into the wall. But it didn't happen. Like you said, though, it had to be a feisty move to get it done. What was I going to say? In fairness to him, you said you hadn't raced him in a while. He's going to take this the wrong way. He's going to say I'm bullying him. I'm not. But this is the first time for a while that he's had pace to be up there fighting for these sorts of positions. I think the last time that we all strongly remember him, like without him just all of a sudden appearing in the top 10, the last time we remember him fully putting up a fight for a strong position was probably... It was Donington round 1 last year at the RLTC. It was when it was him versus Jake. He kept Jake behind him for a very long time, and then Jake just got past him towards the end. It was very similar to what he did with you today. But yeah, it's nice to see him not making mistakes and fighting people of your caliber, Morgan. I say that with respect, of course, as a Jetta and touring car champion now for the Racing Line. How does that sound? A multi-car champion, the only multi-car champion on the Racing Line.
I like that. It's got a good ring to it.
We'll have to see what the Clios bring if they're good. I'm really hoping they haven't broken. Like if those cars are rubbish, I'm gonna be so disappointed. Those Clios, by the way.
If they handle like the 86s.
Yeah, well, I don't mind. The 86s are all right. No, they're not too bad. Because I feel like the Clio has to have that little kick in a corner where the rear wheel comes off the ground. That's what makes them fun. But if that happens, I've just got a feeling if that happens on iRacing and it kicks at the wrong angle, it's going to spit you off in the other direction. If you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's like the front wheel drive characteristic is tricycling through corners, but iRacing things might just end up grip flipping you or something like that.
Hopefully we'll see. Yeah, if the car's any good, guys, I can see someone just mentioned it. The RLTC, the Clio Cup, will be starting after the Touring Car Championship. But Morgan, congratulations on your result today. It's looking strong. I am assuming that you'll be leading the championship after today. We will see. But congratulations again, and we'll see you at Silverstone next time. Is there anyone you want to say hello or thank you to before I let you go?
I'd like to thank Jake and James as always for hanging with me, and my parents for making all this possible, and my grandparents for making my parents possible. And I'll give a shout out to Roger Troxel, who actually came up with the name Zippy the Wonder Slug. It's how do I put this nicely? It's a degrading term for people who drive on the left lane at the speed limit.
Degrading term for people that drive the left lane at the speed limit. Are you that guy?
Basically, apparently.
That's a shot.
I like the ring of it. It's a nice term.
No worries. I'm gonna call people that now. I think I'm gonna use that. It's a new reference. For
it's a wonderful name. It's a wonderful name. It makes a good bumper sticker.
Okay, I'll look into it. Anyway, thank you, Morgan. Good to speak to you again, and we'll speak to you soon.
Alright, see you.
There he goes, Zippy the Wonder Slug. I feel like have I understood that right, guys? Where he's basically saying the people that are in the fast lane. Wait, left lane. He's in America. Yeah, the fast lane. People in the fast lane on the motorway or the highway that don't go fast. The people that just sit there. In the UK, we have middle laners. In Dubai, we've got 7 laners. I don't know how to explain what goes on in the motorways here. But anyway, that is enough from me. Thank you all for watching across all 4 channels, whether you're watching with VCO eSports or here on the Racing Line channel. It means a lot. Don't forget to hit that like button and hit subscribe if you haven't already. We recently passed 8,000 subscribers, so thank you for that. The Clios will likely be out next week. If that is the case, then it will be Clio track guides for next season, I imagine, if I'm good in it. So we'll keep your eyes peeled for that. As usual, that is pretty much it from me. If I don't see you on track this week, then I'll see you next week for the next video here on the Racing Line. Peace.